You'll sleep really well tonight.
Why are you yelling at them?
Because I have a right to. That's why. That's why. Because I'm an aggravated mother. That's why. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Taking over my kid's school. Take all the kids out to sleep here tonight, huh? How long you staying?
Oh, this is cots. This is bed. They're bringing in food. Look. Why not? Why not? I gotta see where my tax dollars are going.
This is not going to be a city where we're going to place children and families on the street.
Now, that was Eric Adams speaking, and of course, he's not talking about American citizens, families who actually put him in office, but he's referring to the migrant families. And this has been pretty apparent because just late last night, as we showed in the intro, he has cleared out a high school, James Madison in particular, in Brooklyn, in order to bring in these illegal aliens and house them during the upcoming storm. Came across this story last night because Elon Musk had taken to X or Twitter and called out the governor of my lovely home state of Massachusetts, Miss Maura Healey, because she had put the word out in the past that there is a need for housing migrants because of the state of emergency, which she brought on herself by declaring Massachusetts a sanctuary state. And as of right now, we have about 7,500 illegal immigrants bedding down in the Bay State, and I can't find an apartment. But getting back to New York, this is a story from the Post. New York City students forced to go remote as city houses nearly 2,000 migrants at their school. One mom goes off. Does it feel good? So we saw that in the intro of the video. That mother yelling at the police who cleared out those students. In the article, it says the city made the move amid concerns at a massive migrant tent at Floyd Bennett Field, which, don't forget now, this is the original location that they spent millions of dollars to set up on a youth sports field where kids from the neighborhood are supposed to be going to get exercise and get involved with competitive sports. Not only have they now taken away the field, but they're going into the high school. The second floor gym in particular at James Madison High, which is about 5 miles away from that school. The school's neighbors were not too keen on the last-minute decision. This is effed up, said a local resident who identified himself only as Rob. It's a litmus test. They are using a storm, a legitimate situation where they are testing this out. I guarantee you they'll be here for the entire summer. There are 1,900 people getting thrown into my neighborhood, half a block from where I live, and we don't know who they are. The article continues, the school announced online earlier in the day that classes would be held remotely on Wednesday due to the activation of James Madison High's temporary overnight respite center for the migrants. The decision to clear the migrants out of the field came as city officials feared for the safety of the tents, saying there might be winds of up to 70 miles per hour gusting on Tuesday and Wednesday. So they are taking away the students' in-class learning and the socialization that comes along with that, and it's going to send them back to remote learning again, online, just like they did during the pandemic. And we all know how that worked out. This is from Harvard Graduate School of Education, talking about the negative effects of remote learning on children's well-being. It's just been well documented and studied that this is not a good idea. It lends itself to a lot of problems, including emotional distress and social anxiety and all kinds of things.
I was murdered. You were murdered. Okay.
But it gets worse when we're talking about what's going on in New York right now, because the students that are still actually going to class and doing in-school learning are facing another issue because of this crisis. Watch.
During school hours, they're out. All the prostitution is taking up every single block. They will be out with their pimps, and they don't care.
Jaylene Lugo is 14 years old and taking the number 7 train home from high school for the first time. With a Kirby doll on her book bag. Her walk on Roosevelt Avenue is a jolt out of childhood innocence.
I've seen teenage boys go up to the prostitutes.
In one busy spot on 90th Street, Men are led downstairs to a brothel on a regular basis.
This is turning into a red light district in Bangkok. You walk up and down from the 70s all the way down to the hundreds. And all you're going to see are different massage parlors with women outside soliciting men. There's no moral compass anymore.
Yeah, so you heard that right. Not only are kids in New York having to deal with the normal everyday problems that they got living in a big city like NYC that has just become an absolute dump since 2020, but they're also having to walk by these open air prostitution markets. This article here from the Daily Mail is just from over a month ago. Huge new red light district erupts in NYC, fueled by arrival of migrant Venezuelan prostitutes. It says New York City has a huge new red light district thanks to the arrival of hordes of female Venezuelan migrants who are working as prostitutes, Mayor Eric Adams says. Roosevelt Ave in the Corona neighborhood of Queens is filled with Venezuelan migrants offering sex services in the open-air so-called Market of Sweethearts.
Of human trafficking. Yeah. Women on the street, children on the street. What's going on? What can you do about that?
Right. So for folks at home, I represent the neighborhoods of Jackson Heights, Corona, East Elmhurst, that area where I was born and raised. I'm Colombian, the daughter of Colombian immigrants, like many of the migrants, actually. So we naturally attracted a lot of these new families, and what we're seeing, especially along Roosevelt Avenue, is a lot of survival work. We see sex workers. We see all sorts of things that people have to do in order to survive. That's why we call it survival work. And while there is human trafficking, the law, unfortunately, does not help distinguish between those who are who are trafficked and who are not, for us to actually be able to find those bad guys and catch them. So we want to be very careful. We, of course, are not looking necessarily to criminalize people, but we do want them to work within the regulations and within the law as much as possible.
In recent weeks, sex workers have been seen walking the streets during the day, with many aggressively soliciting even as young children get out of school or during their lunch hour. This is the fault of the adults in New York City who voted for these policies, in particular Joe Biden, who ran on having a wide open border and an unlimited influx of illegal immigrants coming from all over the world. And it's the same story for the mayor, Eric Adams. He won New York by a landslide, like over 66% of the vote. There's no one out there in the streets shutting down bridges or shutting down the tunnels or protesting in front of traffic or screaming with a megaphone for the children and what's going on in the city. No, they'll do it for anything else. As a matter of fact, they did it just the other day against the city for the treatment of the migrants.
At a protest in Foley Square, elected leaders and immigrant advocates say the mayor forcing migrant families out is just inhumane.
They think ripping children out of their beds will make these families leave and go back to their countries of origin.
But no one cares about the kids. What we're seeing right now is just an absolute disgrace. And it's a shame that no one will go out and stand up for these kids except for these few parents who are concerned about their children's education and where these migrants are being housed, especially when you consider the fact that there's more than 13,000 rent-stabilized apartment units in New York City that have been sitting empty for multiple years, yet we're going to pull the children out of class, take them out of their schools, and send them back to remote education because no one wants to step up and do what's right. And, you know, I just can't believe people aren't more disgusted about this. All right, I think if I go any further here, I'm just going to be ranting. So I'm going to get back to finishing up editing the documentary. I know it's taking a little longer than I thought, but for all the time and money I put into it, I want to make sure that it's perfect before it is debuted to the world. If you guys made it this far in the video, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button for me, that would be great. And let me know down in the comments below, what do you think about what's going on in New York City right now? This absolute abomination that is illegal immigration, sanctuary cities. Is anything going to change anytime soon? Will we see anyone stand up for these kids? Or is it just going to be more of the same? And as always, thank you for all the likes, the views, the comments. My new subscribers, my OGs, I appreciate each and every one of you. We are here to break the wheel. This is Ape Nation. I'm just a concerned citizen, and I'm out.